Welcome to the WDW Fan Zone Show. I am Stuart Sternberg and joined tonight by Kurt. And tonight we're talking collectibles, Disney collectibles, Texas Tea. No, I don't know where that came from. That was Beverly Hillbillies. Do you know there's only one surviving member of the Beverly Hillbillies?
And he's extremely old.
Yes, and he still dyes his hair and has the yeah. Ronald Reagan had more gray hairs than was it Max Baer Jr. is his name. Anyway, this is a Disney fan podcast, so we're not going to be talking about the Beverly Hillbillies, not just yet. Anyway, if we do. Tonight we have some interesting things to discuss, and I don't know how many of you have a Disney collection or are interested in starting one. I know Kurt has a very extensive Disney collection. Mine is, I've got a lot of stuff, a few things that are valuable, a few not so much. But we're going to discuss what we have. And if you're watching us on YouTube, a couple of things. Please give us a thumbs up, like the show, and subscribe to it, please, because the more YouTube sees of us, the more we can give you going forward. It'll help our visibility on there. So that will help us out a lot. And Kurt, I know you've got a bunch of colors. Why don't you just show us one of them, so our listeners? If you're watching us on YouTube, you'll see this. If not, Kurt will describe it for those listening to us.
So, one of my early collections I started getting is this little thing they came up with the Millennium Celebration, pin trading. Mm-hmm. So I have a couple cast member exclusive ones that they had.
Oh, that's cool.
That they're just awesome pins that they created for the year 2000. And it started in 1999. And it was, here's this simple little thing. I just grabbed one lanyard. Lanyards were being given out constantly, even on the cruise ships that were passing out lanyards. And with the lanyards came 3 pins. And with the pin became pin trading. So if you started doing this pin trading, you'd buy a pin, maybe buy a couple pins. You could get a pen at the outlet store, so it was a less expensive pen. And then you'd go around to the different cast members. And pre-COVID, you were allowed to touch cast members. And you could look at their pins. And we'd trade pins back and forth. So 1 pin became 2 pins, became 8 pins, 10 pins, became a bag full of pins. So it just grows and grows and grows. So what I recommend, if you're going to do that, think of a theme. So I stuck with theme park, stuff from the theme park that I really liked, and that was my theme. And that's now 21 years worth of pin trading.
Wow. Yeah. All but one of my pins is tucked away in a box somewhere in storage in my house. I do have one pin here. Let me grab it. Wait. This is the Walt Disney World 50th anniversary pin.
Oh, nice pin. I think I got that one.
The only pin I have out and I have on display now. My pin collecting story started. It was my kids that actually started collecting when we went to the parks, and they were like little kids. And there was no rhyme or reason to it. I went to before we went on one of our trips. I don't even remember the year. It was in the very early 2000s. I went to the Disney outlet store not far from where I lived when I was living in New Jersey. And we bought lanyards with the pins on them, meaningless pins, but it was something for them to have. Went to the parks. They traded with cast members. They purchased other pins we gave them an allowance for the trip. So they each had a certain amount of money they could spend. If they spent it all in one day, they were finished. Mm-hmm. If they spread it out over the week, great. So they traded pins. They bought a couple of pins, and that snowballed to every trip. They would do the same thing: bring pins they didn't want, trade, and buy a couple. Mm-hmm. I started to get into it with them, and I bought a couple of pins. I didn't trade any pins, but I did buy a few, more than a few. Like I said, no rhyme or reason to it. It's just what I like, what the kids liked, and somehow I wound up with all of them. And the lanyards, and they're sitting in a box somewhere.
Yeah,
if they're worth anything. Now, in my New Jersey house, I had the room to display a lot of them. Here, I don't.
I was like you. It's the same thing. All of a sudden, all these pins, they didn't want them anymore. Now they're back to me.
Yeah.
We have friends who they found pins from when they were younger. And they're like, here, you'll appreciate these more than me. So how do you continue getting pins? Your friends end up giving them to you when you know you're a collectible.
Yeah.
My favorite pins have always been the cast member kit pins.
Yeah.
So that one it's actually castle, So the cast member pins, when I could find those are the ones I really wanted. And I had a couple of friends that were cast members that were nice enough that after they were retired and move on, they were like, look, you still love these a lot more than we do. So they gave me the pins. They were downsizing.
Right. Yeah. Now there's no rhyme or reason if you get into pin collecting. Just one thing I would suggest is be careful what you buy online, especially from places like eBay and Etsy, because there are a lot of counterfeit pins out there. So
Yes.
you've got to be really, really careful. Yeah, go ahead. I thought you were going to say something.
Oh no, you were absolutely correct. I've never had a pin turned away from me, but I have bought the 25 pins for $25 before. Only be told by cast members, be careful. Sometimes they're not real pins.
Yeah.
So, there's a certain way it's written on the back, and I don't know how it's done now.
Yeah, I'm not sure how
on the
it's
back,
done.
there's a certain design that's exclusive to them on the back, and if that's not on there, it looks like a regular sand casting. Odds are pretty good it's not an actual pin. So you got to be careful. And some of them, it's just in the color. If the color's off, it's a counterfeit pin.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
I have
Disney's
no
found a
idea how
way
they made it.
to mark their pins so that the counterfeiters have not been able to reproduce yet. So that's a good thing. Another type of collectible that's been very popular or I should say was initially very popular, it seems to have waned over the last few years, and that's Vinylmations, which are these little figurines, what are 3 inches big? Yeah. I want to get
About
one
two
to
and a half.
show everybody too, and I'll describe mine. Kurt, why don't you describe yours while I go grab mine?
So what I did, again, stick with a theme. So I stuck with attractions. So I ended up getting, that's the devil from uh the Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. I wanted theme park stuff. So, the Tiki Room. And then also, like I said, when I went on a cruise, I would get them for a cruise. So it was things that related to me, things that meant something to me. I wasn't just going to go out there and get, oh, look, they've got these urban ones. Well, that meant nothing to me, so I didn't want to order one. So or pick one up. So I stuck with ones that I wanted. Early on, they were also trading these as well. Unfortunately, what ended up happening was, and I'm guilty of it myself, we'd go to the outlet store. You could get one for about $3 instead of the 12. And if you didn't like it, they were actually trading them in the theme parks. The problem was,
Mhm.
if you paid $12 for one that you didn't like and you traded for a blind box, odds are pretty good you were getting stuck with one of these ones that was only a $3 one that people bought specifically for trading. So that kind of got out of hand, and I think that's why they stopped trading. And I think they just started running out of things to make with them. Although there
Yeah.
is a 50th anniversary out there right now of the
I'll have to look at that.
Vinylmations. I saw them. I wasn't going to pay $3.50 for the whole box, but
Wow. Yeah, that's how much it is.
it's
350. Wow.
ridiculous. It's 24 of them, so do the math. It's like,
Oh,
I
okay.
think they're up to like $15 a piece.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of tough. Now I have one here, which is the Statue of Liberty.
Sweet.
Now this one was exclusive when Disney opened up their
Mhm.
store in Times Square. It was exclusive to the store there. I have another one too, which I didn't grab. I should have grabbed it. It's a taxi, New York taxi
Mhm.
Vinylmation. Um, I don't know what they're worth. I have no clue. I just happened to like them. Got them. I did collect. I've got about 20 some odd Vinylmations, not on display, also in a box someplace, and I've got about, I want to say 15 here, and it's just the ones that I like better than the others. So I just put those out.
So the way I display those, my pens I could display on the wall. You just would put them into a picture frame and
Mhm.
cut the back off or put rubber cement on the back so that they don't or hot glue on the back so you don't scratch up your wall. Those Michael sells. It's I want to say maybe 3 foot by 3 foot square. It's for shot glasses, and these fit in there perfectly. So I actually have I have 4 of these cases filled with vinylmations.
Wow.
So,
It's a
and like I said,
lot
I
of
stuck with,
animations.
yeah, I stuck with themes. So I think 3 of them are theme park
Mhm.
or cruise, and the other one is mostly Star Wars.
Cool. That's cool. Yeah, I never stuck with the theme. I did like the Muppet ones, and I grabbed a few of those here and there when I saw them. Mickey, of course, I like getting Mickey. Now they also
Mhm.
sold Vinylmations that came blank that you can paint and design yourself.
I had a couple of those. I
Yeah,
could never figure out what to paint.
yeah. Um, you know, but getting away from the collectibles just for a minute, but staying on collecting. There's so many Disney things you can collect, and so many ways you can collect. There's nothing to say what you want to do is wrong. There's no whatever you want to collect that's Disney, that's good for you, and that's great. And don't let anybody try to talk you out of collecting the way you want. But there are certain places you've got to have a little bit of luck with. I always found flea markets to be a great place
Hmm.
to find Disney collectibles. Now, Kurt, with your collection, do you
Right.
stick to anything more than anything else, or if you see something you like that you think has value, or like, what are the reasons behind what you collect?
Well, being follically challenged, I started collecting hats. So I'd pick up a hat every year or two. Well, now I've got a huge collection of hats, so I cut back on those. It's something that catches my eye. If it catches my eye and I think it's cool, that's one of the things I'm going to collect. And I
Mhm.
try not to go overboard, but my basement's rather full right now. I've got to start thinning some of these collections out. So I'd
Mm.
I'd stick to a thing, something that I knew, because I did do. They did. I don't even know where it's at. Somewhere over here, I've got the coins, where you could put them in the
Mhm.
case, and here's all the
Yep.
coins from all the different attractions and everything. And I did that. Oh, here it is. I did it one year, and then the next year they weren't there again. So I I
I
only got
remember when they did that.
I only got some of them. I didn't get all
Yeah.
of them, and I got all these blanks because they just weren't available anymore. So just be careful. If it's something, maybe it's like my wife would collect the mugs because every couple of years she wanted a new mug for
Mm.
work. And so she would collect the mug, and we have several Disney mugs now. So just maybe there's something practical. Um, I've got cells when Disney was selling their cells
Oh,
for like there
yeah.
was an affordable thing that was cool. It was painted.
Yep.
Back when Disney Hollywood Studios was a working studio, they had someone in the ink and paint department that just exclusively made all these cells, and I think I've got probably 10 or 12 of them. So I found it interesting because they did an anniversary version, and all the cells were on the back wall of this cell that I got, and I think I had all but 2 of them. So it was
Wow.
kind of neat,
Yeah, I love that store in Disney's Hollywood Studios.
right?
Um, so many amazing things there. I'm missing. What is it? Sid Schwang is in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, I agree.
Um, they used to have all the memorabilia, sign memorabilia,
Yes,
and that's gone. I guess it wasn't a big moneymaker for them, so now they've turned into a photo or a
isn't
camera.
that the photo pickup?
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know for me, I never got into one particular thing. The pins were my kids' thing, although I got into it a little bit with them. The Vinylmations they never got into, but it was something that was new. So I figured, okay, let me start collecting them, and I started collecting what I like. But snow globes. There
I
was
have
a
a
time
couple of
where I
those.
was
Yep.
collecting snow globes, but I wasn't buying them through Disney. I mentioned flea markets earlier. I would go to a flea market, and invariably there would be people that were either emptying out a house, so they were trying to sell
Mhm.
the contents of the house, and you'd find some Disney snow globes mixed in, or they bought storage lockers and they were getting rid of the contents of the flea market that I guess were not, or that they didn't know were valuable. We actually found at one flea market trip, it was a Pinocchio with Jiminy Cricket ceramic figurine. It's about five
Oh
inches
wow.
tall,
Hmm.
um, and it's a limited number, and that has some value to it.
Right.
Don't know exactly what it is now, but about 10 years ago, when I looked it up, it was $350. More than 10 years ago.
Exactly. And here's the thing with that. Flea markets back in the day, the only way they could figure out what things were worth was they had to look through the books and everything.
Mhm.
And a lot of people didn't want to take the time to actually do that. So like, okay, just give me $5, give me $10.
Yep.
And then you get home and you're now here it is 20 years later. Click of a button. I mean, how many times have you looked something up to make sure you're not getting stolen, getting ripped off for this? Here,
Yep.
let me look it up on my phone really quick. Wait, I can get this for $50 and it's worth 300? Really? Oh, it's got a scratch on it. That's why it's only 50. Well,
Oh,
then
yeah.
yeah. So do you really want it? Is this something you really want? Or is it something that, means a lot to you? Like, I actually have these figurines that are about this tall that were from when Pinocchio came out. They're my mom's. So she's had them her entire life. And when she was when she moved into when she had to sell her house and move into assisted living, she goes, I really want you to have these, but I don't want you to sell them. And I'm like, why would I sell these things? And she goes, because I think they're worth a lot of money. Well, we have no idea. It's
Mhm.
like between $300 and $500. It basically, what are they worth? It's worth whatever someone's going to pay for it.
Exactly.
So you just don't know. I mean, our latest, oops, gonna drop them.
And
Latest collection is
sorry to interrupt you for a second, but people, if yeah, I know a lot of people get into it for the value of what they're, but that's not what I got into collecting for. I got
right.
into it because it's things I like, things that I wanted to decorate. Well, you can't see it on here in my office,
Mhm.
but there'll be a picture up of some of the collectibles from the shelf that I have here that'll go up with the show notes. And I did it for fun, what I liked, and it has different. It's more of a fan interest for me than it is anything else. Sorry,
Mhm.
Kurt. You mean to?
No, that's okay. I mean, well, I was gonna move on to the Funko Pops because it
Mhm.
was the same thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it was something that I was getting. Oh, I can make money off of these. It drives me crazy if there's something specific I want and it's sold out within 10 minutes and you can't get it. Like right now, the
Mhm.
castle, the Lego mini castle. I so want that thing. I'm on a waiting list through Lego. I can find them online. Now, this thing retails for $35. You can find them online for between 50 and 100 because people gobbled them all up and they were gone and put them on eBay. That bothers me.
Yeah.
So, and like you said, the collectibles change through time.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know if you remember the mini beanbag plush.
Yes, I
They
did.
were about this tall. We had those. They were on display in what it was my office that then became my son's bedroom. So when it became my son's bedroom, those came down because that's where he now stores his collection of 300 plus movies. So they're down, and it's okay. Yes, we had a lot. Yes, they went all the
Mhm.
way around the room. Yes, they're like you. They're just in storage now. I still have one on display though, and I didn't even pay for this one. However, I did have to sign that I would never sell it when I worked at the Disney store. Get it out of here. I worked at the Disney store and I was able to get
Yeah.
the Mickey cast
Yeah.
member of the Mickey Beanbag plush.
That's nice.
That's the
Really
only one
nice.
that's still on display. The rest of them, they're in that room over there. They're in storage.
Yeah. Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say now. Um, I don't know.
And I find
Oh,
them now at garage sales
yeah, you can.
$1, $3.
Oh, I remember what I wanted to say. what Disney has done, I don't know if they did it intentionally or if they had a different reason for that. Well, it did it intentional. The 50th anniversary, the limit of two per, I think most of them were two per customer. I think that was because they could only make a certain amount. They wanted to save for guests who might have had a trip coming a few weeks after the time the items might have gone on sale. So I think it was just to stretch the inventory out, knowing full well that it's going to sell out anyway at some point. But I think it also had a good effect on the people that were people that want them to take the merchandise out of the hands of those putting it on eBay and trying to sell it for X amount of dollars. And I think putting a limit on that worked well with taking it out of the hands of the eBayers.
I'm hopeful that there's still some of that still around when we come down in May, because that's as soon as I could come down. It's either that or I got to beg you guys to go and look at it and get it. But
yeah, they've been coming out with more stuff.
I like to have it in my hands. I hate buying things online because I want to see what it is and what it looks like.
Yeah.
Even ordering online from Disney. I mean, I keep my pop figures, my Funko Pops, in the box. This came straight from Disney. The corner's dented, the top's dented. If I wanted to sell this, someone would complain because it's not in perfect condition.
Sometimes the boxes are worth more than the actual figure. Yeah.
And here this is, and it's like, okay, well, I think it's cool. It's DJ Rex. That's why I got it. But if I was trying to sell him on eBay, they'd be like, yeah, it's damaged.
The only, and I wish I'd never taken this out of, this being the Statue of Liberty Vinylmation and the Taxi Vinylmation out of the box. That's a mistake I made. The only Vinylmation that I did not take out of the box was a set of 3. It was Disney Cruise Line, the inaugural, I think it was the inaugural cruise for the
mine came out. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So I still have them. I have no idea what the value is, if any at all, but that's the only Vinylmations I still have in a box.
Mine is, my wife went to Hong Kong, or she went to Hong Kong, and they actually had them there. There was only one available, and it's still in the box. That's the only one that I have that's still in the box, is the one from Hong Kong Disneyland.
That's great. Yeah. Hindsight is always 2020.
Well, the other ones you couldn't keep them in the box because you had to open them up to find out what it was on the inside.
Yeah, exactly. That's right, because that's right. They weren't clear see-through boxes. Yeah. That's right.
You don't know what you're getting. That was the whole thing. It was when they designed Vinylmation, the whole fun of it was a collectible, kind of like going and buying, like when we were little kids and we would go and buy baseball cards. You never knew what you were going to get. And that was half the excitement, was opening them up and seeing which one you get. It's kind of like all the little the Lego figurines. Now we would cheat and we'd feel around and see if we could figure out what it was.
Yeah.
We'd still get ones wrong sometimes.
But. You know what I wish Disney would do? I know you can get them on the bus. The bus drivers have Disney trading cards that they'll give to kids every now and then. I wish they would sell trading cards. They can come up with different themes. You can have Disney Pixar, you could have Marvel, you could have Star Wars, you could have the parks. There's so much they can do with that, and they can make a fortune off of that. Unless they've done the marketing research, and maybe those things are not things most people would be interested in. I don't know.
I do have some Disney trading cards like that. We bought the case, and with buying the case, I got the entire set. Yeah. So it was like $35 or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't sell them, and I know we're getting off topic a little bit here. I wouldn't sell them in a set. I would sell them in individual packs, so you have to buy the packs to make up the set.
Well, yeah, my wife bought me the box, because you can buy the whole box or you just buy them individually.
Oh, I see.
She bought me a box, and when she bought me the box, you got the entire set.
I know there are a lot of Marvel cards out there, but if you could get some that's only available in the parks or through the Disney store, I think that would be pretty cool. But
well, that was the whole thing when they did what was the game that used all those cards?
Was that the game? Oh, what can't I think of it?
I can't think of the name of it.
She had red hair. Cartoon.
Sorcerer
Oh no, I'm thinking of
something.
something else. Oh, okay.
You're thinking of
Cool.
Kim Possible.
Yes, you're. Oh, I know what
That
you're
was
thinking
with your
about.
phone.
Yes.
This was the Sorcerers of the Kingdom.
Yep.
When you go around and
Mhm.
you had all the different things you had to do in there, the
Mhm.
different places to go.
Yeah.
But when that came out, my kids were older and they weren't into it anymore.
And that could be the problem. It could be, my generation because we were into baseball cards,
Right.
or it could, I don't know. But sorry for getting off topic here.
That's okay. Well, again, it was about something that you could collect, though, all those trading cards.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Now, there are a lot of different things you can collect that some people don't think of. Some people collect telephones. As a matter of fact, we have a telephone that is exactly or the same one. Just I got mine.
yeah, I got two of them.
Yeah, mine. I got one here. Let me just grab it. And I got mine from a flea market.
I think mine it's the same one you've got. My wife gave it to me my wife gave it to me for a birthday present or Christmas or something like that.
Oh, who is it?
And it
So I'm
actually,
holding up a Mickey phone, which had it was an actual touch tone. It wasn't a rotary dial, so it's old, but it's not ancient.
so you've got, I want to say that was like the second generation. I
Mhm.
got that one that a friend gave me, and I've got the third generation. Yeah, actually, right there is that exact phone that you're talking about. It's behind me on the shelf. I have another one that I had to turn it off because we kept getting phone calls during our show. That when it would ring, it would start talking to you. Phone call. It's for you.
Oh, that's funny.
So, and I had to turn it off because it kept talking. So, but I have that one over there too. So I have two of them, and they made a third one. I know they had one with a backpack.
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
They had one where an early one, his hand was holding the phone, and
Yes,
that
I
was how
remember
you
that.
pick it up and put it down.
That
So
one I remember. Yeah. One of my neighbors has
actually, that's the
a
one I got.
yeah. One of my neighbors has a goofy nightlight. Not when I say nightlight,
Yes,
it's or a table lamp. I'm sorry, and it talks, and it's pretty cool to see it how it works.
that I don't have, but
Yeah, I don't have any.
there was a goofy one, and when it would ring, he was asleep, and then when it would ring, he'd lift the set up and say phone call, and then he'd put his head back down and he'd snore again when it was
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, there's some
So
pretty cool phones out there.
yes,
Some are more expensive than others if that's what you're into collecting or looking to
hmm
collect. Down here there were a lot of places. I'm not talking about the t-shirt places that have all the Disney merchandise. There were places down here, a lot of thrift stores that have a lot of different Disney merchandise. So if you go off property on 192, um, Route 192, there's a lot of places. Don't go to the souvenir shops. Go to the places that are thrift shops, and you might find some Disney collectibles to add to your collection. Now, I don't know what the prices are there. I don't know, how. I don't know if they're selling it at top dollar or not. I would think, being down here, there's more. Here in Florida, there's more interest. So the likelihood is you're going to pay more for something here than you would in another part of the country. But I don't know that for sure. There might be somebody listening to the show that's more of an expert on that than me.
there's a flea market store. There used to be one that was. I did the article about it. That was up in Inverness. I don't
Mhm.
think they're receiving anything from the theme parks anymore. It wasn't for the theme parks, it was from the resorts.
Right.
There is now a flea market store down, it's between Orlando and Tampa. And my son and I went through over like half of the theme store. We just couldn't find anything. We were in there for an hour looking
Mm.
around trying to find it because we knew it was in there. Well, we started and went to the right. We should have gone to the left. On the left,
Mm.
all the way in the back, was all the stuff out of the out of like a hotel, the hotel rooms. They
Mm.
had a table. It was a round table from I want to say Pop Century that actually had the Mickeys in the top. It was very cool. Um, Lights. I have a light with on the top of the. It's an LED light, but then on the top it's got the Mickey silhouette on the top. And that was reasonable. That was only like $25. I think I paid for that.
Wow.
Um, they had they had banners, they had clothing. That all got pricey. They had this is what I didn't understand. It was you know when the waiter brings you your check,
Yes.
it's in that little plastic fold out
Yep.
thing. So they had some of those from the different parks for like
Those,
$75. Not from the parks, from like different restaurants and stuff. And I'm like, what? $75 for this? Really?
there must be a bunch of people that collect that stuff if they're going to charge that to
I have no
what?
idea. They still had stuff from the 25th anniversary there.
Ooh.
So it was banners that were, I mean, it's so big. Where are you gonna put it? So, but
Yeah.
you know, wall art that was in a hotel rooms, and it was pricey. Some of it, I mean, the place that was up in Inverness, you'd be buying wall art for about $45 to $60.
Wow.
Down there, this other place, it was a bit pricier. Some of them went up to like
Yeah.
250.
Yeah. There's also a place in Mount Dora that's an antique shop. It's pretty big, and they've
Hmm.
got Disney collectibles in there. And I'm sure it's not the only place in Mount Dora, but that's not close to the park. So
Right.
you know, you'd have to have the time and willingness to leave the parks if you come down here on vacation to
Right.
go there. If you live here, you know, that's another story. But yeah, there's my suggestion would be go to your local flea markets, try your local thrift stores, antique
Hmm.
stores. You know, a lot of people know what the value of these things are. Now, I saw once at a flea market, and this woman knew her stuff because I looked it up online. She was selling Mickey Mouse and other Disney character color forms that were
Oh
pretty. The
wow.
box was pretty beat up, but she had the box. The pieces were there, but they were very expensive. I don't remember the price, but they were very expensive. And I looked it up online, and it's like, yeah, she knew what she had.
She was
She
trying to
did her
get lists.
research.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. But you gotta see, sometimes people are trying to ask too much for it.
yeah,
Um, it's gonna just sit there. I mean, you
hmm
think about it, it's kind of like I laugh and I think back to when my grandfather, when he was downsizing and selling off some of his tools, he, you know, here's this hammer that he's had for 30 plus years. So he'd go to the store and see how much a hammer was, and it'd say, you know, this hammer's it's $15. So he'd price this hammer at 12 to $15. It's like the hammer's worth, you know, whatever someone's going to pay you for it, maybe
oh yeah,
five, something like
yeah,
that, you know. But it's like, no, that hammer's worth a lot more than that. I'm like, oh yeah. So you got to be careful. Sometimes people are trying to get too much for
yeah.
it.
You do, you know, especially at a flea market. You know, people are looking for bargains at a flea market. They're not looking to pay
That's
top
it.
dollar for something. It's just like if you have a garage sale. I mean, I can't say how many times I found things at a garage sale
Hmm.
um, because people were getting rid of things and just wanted it out the door. You know, when we moved from New Jersey here, I sold a ton of Disney stuff that I couldn't take everything with me.
Right.
So the things that meant the least to me, I sold. I had a Mickey Mouse wall clock um, that was valued at. I remember looking that up because I wanted to see how much it was before I sold it. It was worth between $20 and $25 used, and nobody wanted it. I wound up giving it away to somebody who was a Disney fan who lived in Jersey who could
Hmm.
appreciate it. I just gave
Right.
it to them. I had a lot of the what else did I have? Oh, the McDonald's Disney toys.
Right.
No one wanted them. I mean, I couldn't sell them
No.
for a penny. So I wound up finding someone that I worked with who knew a family that had a couple little kids that would love that stuff. And I just gave them the whole
Right.
thing. It was a big tin, like one of those
Yeah.
popcorn tins that they
Yeah.
sell right around now, Christmas time,
Yep.
filled with that stuff.
Yeah. That people thought they were going to make millions on those things. So yeah. No, and every once in a while I watch it. There's a couple shows on TV where they do that kind of stuff, and they bring in the expert. And someone had even like the little the Beanie Babies.
Mhm.
This guy thought he was going to get $500 for these things because, well, this was printed wrong and this was wrong and this one wrong. They're like, well, no, actually, these are worth about $3 total. He had like
Mm.
five of them. They're like $3 to $5. That's it. That's all they're worth. So unfortunately, some of that stuff just doesn't hold up.
No, it doesn't.
There were so many millions of them made and sold, but it
And that's
just
the
doesn't
problem.
hold up.
That's the problem.
Right.
Unless it's like a limited edition, and the limited edition is confined to a few thousand.
500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not going to gain the value you think.
Right.
And maybe in 100 years it will, but not now.
Right.
There's. Oh, I did want to show something. Just let me grab it.
The key thing while he's doing that, stick to a theme if you can. That'll help.
Now, this is a snow globe of Mickey and Minnie Mouse. Now, I have one. I think it's Snow White. It's either Snow White or Cinderella. That's like twice the size of this, and you can see I'm holding it upon my hand. This is a pretty big one. I couldn't have paid more than $5 for that at a flea market.
Oh, flea market? Okay.
Yeah, I think it was $10 for that and like 4 other snow globes.
So we don't have a lot of garage, or we don't have flea markets per se around here. We have a ton of garage sales though, and every once in a while, I'll get lucky and find a record album like this from the parks.
Wow, that's cool.
I actually have, and I don't know how I end up with them. I think I have 3 copies of this, and probably 3 or 4 copies of the Haunted Mansion. So
I've got some 33 when I say 33, full record albums, Disney record albums that went out of production years ago. I think they're from the 1950s or 60s, maybe even before. I'm not sure. I have found comic books.
Yeah, I've got a comic book from the 30s.
Uncle Scrooge is one. It's one of them that I have. I forgot the others.
I did an article about that once.
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to find in your basement. These were comic books that were my dad's or my aunt's. And one of them, I really wish the cover was in better shape because it would be worth several $100s, but the whole cover is just destroyed just from being moved around and stuff in the basement. From his parents just tossing stuff around. It just lost all value. Same thing. Sports Illustrated. There were other sports magazines. I had one with Cassius Clay on the cover, not Muhammad Ali, rookie Cassius Clay.
Wow.
You didn't think anything of it. We'd throw them away back then. But again, you collect what you want to collect because you can't have everything.
No, you can't. Funny story. Before we moved down here, we took a lot of. I have a garage filled with these plastic bins of stuff. 99% of it is my kids' stuff. They didn't want to take it with them, so we got stuck with it and had to move it down here. It was stuff they did not. They went through everything. It's stuff they didn't want to get rid of. Well, we were going to throw out. My son had a collection of magazines, Sports Illustrated for kids, and some wrestling magazines and other stuff. We said they can't have that much value. So we're fighting with him, and I said, you know what? I'm going to just throw it out. He'll never know. He'll never look for it. And then I said, I don't know what it was. Something made me go online and look at the value of a few just random magazines just to see what it was worth. And I was like, holy crap. These things are worth $10, $20 each.
Right.
And I said, you know what? I'm holding on to them because someday he's going to need the money. And actually now.
Star Wars comic book.
Yeah, I've got a couple
original. Yeah. So it's Disney now. It's Marvel. It's well read though. I don't know what the value would be. It's definitely not very high. But I've got from the first 2. I've got that one and Empire Strikes Back. That's how I found out, Luke, I am your father. I was like, no, that can't be right.
I like to collect interesting things that may not have the greatest value. Oh, by the way, this is also music. I don't know if you can.
We're going to have that playing for a while now.
Yeah.
So When You Wish Upon a Star. Great.
Yes. I forgot all about that. It's the same thing with the one that's like a lot bigger than that outside that we have. All right, it's annoying now.
I said you clicked it too many times. Now Stuart's going to start smashing his snow globe to get it not making any noise.
Just a little music. Oh, you know what? Mouse Fan Travel.
There you go.
Mouse Fan Travel. You know what? It's music to my ears. It's music to yours. It's music to anyone's ears who use them as a travel plan. If you want to get a great vacation, whether it's a week, 2 weeks, or even a long weekend, the only place to go to get the right vacation for you, your family, your friends, whoever you're going with, is through Mouse Fan Travel. They've got great deals. So whether it's Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, it stopped. The music stopped. The music may have stopped for the Snow Globe, but the music doesn't stop for Mouse Fan Travel. They're working for you 24/7. They're absolutely the best vacation planner you'll ever find anywhere. That's why I always say, forget the rest, go with the best. I also say, what do I say? The best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, because it's absolutely true. It is Mouse Fan Travel. Nobody beats Mouse Fan Travel at anything when it comes to expertise and customer service. They're just head and shoulders above everybody else. So if you want a vacation plan your way, the only way, the absolute right way, it is Mouse Fan Travel. And you can find out all the information and great deals they have to offer by going to www.mousefantravel.com. That is www.mousefantravel.com. Please remember to let them know WDW Fan Zone sent you. All right. So, where were we?
Just random things.
Yeah. And you know what? I think a lot of people, I think you have two kind of Disney collectors. You have people that collect things randomly. They see something, they like it, they buy it. And you have people that are into, whether it's pins, vinyl or something else. Some people take the park maps when they go to Disney and they hold on to them.
Where are they?
Oh my God. When I moved, I had a shoebox filled with them. Actually, I had 2 shoeboxes filled with them. And I just said, you know what? I can't take everything.
Right. Yeah. Well, even books. I mean, 1994. How much has things changed since 1994?
Yeah.
With the books, with the travel guides.
Yeah.
I have the night. Well, when Epcot Center was made, the very first one it opened, they had their books out there, and I mean, it told you all about the different areas and how they set it all up and all the different symbols and everything. I mean, I got unofficial guides and, well, actually official guides, the Birnbaum one, all the way back to 82. So it's just fun to look back and see how much things have changed. My kids will ask me a question about something. I'll go, here, let me show you. And I'll pull the old book out of something that, they're like, we don't even know what you're talking about. Here, this is what was there 30 years ago.
Well, you know what? Lou Mangello's audio guides to Walt Disney World. Look how much that's changed. And he did that, maybe between 10 and 12 years ago? Yeah, that's right.
Trivia books.
It's trivia books. He should be coming out with a new trivia book soon, I hope.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too.
The picture books were wonderful books.
Oh, I remember those picture books.
Again, things have changed so much since here.
Yeah. It's now everything is digital. Everything is immediate gratification. Right. And, but there comes a time where you want to look around, absorb what you're seeing, but you want a memory of that. And you know what? Yes, you'll have a memory up here in your head, right? But pictures,
we've talked about the Skyway in the past. There's a picture of it. You can show it to your family. Just pull out the book and go, this is what we were talking about. When we say it went right through the middle of Fantasyland, it's like, how could it go through the middle of Fantasyland? Well, because it was up in the air. There was just these pillars. So as you walk through Fantasyland, you'll see these circular concrete areas. That was where the pillar was at. They cut the pillar out. That's still sitting there. So I think a lot of them are still there too. I don't think they've replaced a lot of them.
No, I think you're right. It's incredible how much the parks have changed and will keep changing. But it's also incredible with what was there back then. And you know what? The only memories you have are if you've taken videos or if you have pictures, whether it's in a picture book or your own pictures. Um, it's like when I go to the parks, I take a million pictures. Most of them have no people in it. It's just to create memories for myself.
Right.
So someday I can look back and say, wow, I remember that.
I do it for my articles.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. It's come in very handy for the articles.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think. Is there anything we haven't covered yet? I'm sure there is.
Well, we talked about videos. We talked about they used to have the souvenir videos too. I don't even think they do
Mhm.
that anymore, do they?
No, I don't believe they
I think
do.
it's all just posted to YouTube now. We talked about
Yeah.
record albums. They had the cassettes, they had storybooks, the newer
Yeah.
collectibles. We got the vinylmations, we got the pop figures, the pins. 21 it's 22 years now, I want to say. 22 years strong of pin trading. It
Mhm.
just keeps going because it's
Yeah.
such a simple, easy, it's an easy little thing that you can grab and take home with you.
Yep. And it's still not very well. Some of the pins are expensive,
Some are
but
crazy.
for the most part, you can buy inexpensive pins in the park. When I say inexpensive, under $15, maybe
Right.
even close to 10. Um, Sometimes they're getting rid of some because they need to make room for new inventory. So you might get a
Mhm.
good deal on some pins too. I think you have to find what you like, what your interests are.
Right.
If you're looking to find things that have value now that may have more value in the future, you could definitely find that. If you're looking to get expensive, nice things, you most certainly can find that and hope that, and it could be just something you like that you want to see on your shelf or something that you hope will gain more value, whether it's for your kids or just for yourself down the road. There's a lot of different things you can do. If someone's starting out collecting, my suggestion would be start out small.
Yeah.
Um, you know, see what you like. And I would start with things you like. And you could pick a category. You could pick
Mhm.
whatever you want. When we moved down here, when I lived back in New Jersey, my room was filled with mostly Disney, but I had sports things in there too. When we moved here, I decided, you know what? I'm only going to put Disney things here. Now,
Yeah.
I have 3 posters up on that back wall. One is of Epcot. You can't see because the light is shining on it. The other one is
Mhm.
Pirates of the Caribbean. The other one is the Haunted Mansion. Um, and it's simple things, but it's just we decorate it very differently here. And now I'm confined to a couple of shelves here, and you'll see it in a picture on the show notes that'll be on the fan zone tomorrow,
Mhm.
which will show some of the collectibles that I've chosen to display for now. But I've got so many others put away. And our guest bedroom, on a dresser, I have the original Woody and Jess dolls that talk.
Mhm.
I had a Buzz Lightyear that
I've
was
still got Buzz.
destroyed over the years. Bought a replacement for it that broke. So I'm missing the Buzz Lightyear one, but maybe someday we'll see.
Like you said, keep it simple.
Mhm.
Think about it. Think about what you want to get.
Yeah.
One of the worst things you can do is just impulse buy to say, I got to have something, and you just buy that. It, we go down for a week at a time. I might see something I really like on the first day. I'll circle back to it. I don't want to just go out there and
Mhm.
boom, buy it right away unless it's something that I've been looking for or something I've been researching.
Yeah,
So,
well, I completely agree. A lot of people, when they go on vacation, do a lot of impulse buying,
right.
and you're absolutely right. It's like take your time, think about it. Don't rush to get some because if it's that important to you, like you said, you'll circle back and you'll get it. Or it could be you'll find something else, someplace else that is more important to
Right.
you. Or you might say, you know what, I've thought about it for a day or so. Not sure I really want it. And if you
Right.
change your mind after you get home, you could still buy it. You just have to contact Disney through shop. What is it,
Mhm.
the Disney store?
Disney
Uh,
store. Well,
yeah,
there are a lot of things though, like the what is it, the new Skyway?
yeah.
Or what are they? Is it the Skyway?
Skyliner.
The Skyliner. Thank you. I was just talking about the Skyway. The Skyliner. there's a bunch of different Skyliners that are out there. There's the Vinylmation version of it, but it's so flippin' huge. Where are you going to display that thing? I wanted it so bad, but I'm like, I got nowhere to display it.
Yeah.
But they have the smaller versions too. But depending on where you go, you can find different versions of it.
Mm-hmm.
So don't jump in impulse and go, oh, I got to have this one now. Check and see if there's another version of it out there that you might find that you like different.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, if somebody's collecting things for years and they're trying to get rid of their collection, I'll gladly accept free stuff. No, I'm kidding. It's, if you decide to, and I had to do that when we moved here, pare down what I had. And it was the things that I got rid of were the things that were not so important to me. We had a lot of, those drinkable refill mugs that you get.
Oh, yeah.
Every time we stayed at a resort, we would buy 2 or 3 of them, if not 4. I couldn't get rid of that. Nobody wanted them. I had no room to bring them down.
Because everyone's got one.
I think I kept one. Do I have it out here?
Yes, I know exactly. We just emptied out our mug. We keep mugs in one cabinet, and I think we just got rid of a dozen of those.
Yeah.
And we kept just paring them down.
I kept one, and the one I kept was the Animal Kingdom one that they had when the Animal Kingdom opened in 1998. That's the only one I kept. I got rid of everything else.
I have one from Wilderness Lodge. It's a bigger mug, like you said. Got rid of most of those thinner ones. I just bought a mug though this year on our anniversary trip. It's the Star Wars one. I thought it looked really cool. And I'll tell you what, that kept everything cold and everything warm for a longer period of time. So it's a good quality thermal mug. It's not just this plastic mug. That's the cheap plastic. It also costs like $28. But I filled this thing up at least twice a day. I fill it up on the way there, and I fill it up on the way back, on the way to the Skyliner, and the way back from the Skyliner.
Yeah, so you know what? That has value to you. So in other ways, it's a convenience.
Still use it.
Right, it's a convenience for you at the parks.
Right. And like I said, I still use it now because it keeps it's. I'm sorry, we're not at the 70 degrees. Oh no, it dropped down to 55 degrees. What's called? It got up to 46 degrees today, and we were like, oh man, we got a heat wave going. It was 70 degrees yesterday. I need that mug because it's going to keep my drink warm, to help keep me warm, that I can drink that as I'm driving. So
you can always get a Tervis.
I've got a couple of those too, but it's my Cubs and Bears Tervis. And if you want to see how bad the Bears are, just watch Sunday Night Football this week. There's a reason why I use my Star Wars one right now.
Yeah. I have to see if AEW's All Elite Wrestling. It's a shirt I'm wearing right now. I have to see if they have a Tervis. Yeah, I'll look that up after the show ends.
There you go. Someone will have it out there.
Now, I do want to mention something just for the fun of it. Are there any Disney fans that are listening to us out there or watching us that are also wrestling fans? If you are, which promotion do you like the best? For me, it's All Elite. It's All Elite or nothing for me right now. But I'm curious to find out what some of our listeners that might be wrestling fans like as well. So just drop me a line if you're a wrestling fan and have a one particular promotion that you like better than the rest. I'd like to know which one that is. All right.
Maybe he'll even have you on the show to interview you.
Could be.
There you go.
If it's a wrestler, I'll have the wrestler on anytime.
Yeah, hey. If
you're a wrestler who's a Disney fan and you find out about us somehow, some way,
please come.
We'd love to have you on.
If you're NASCAR, hey, Ryan Blaney, come on. We want to interview you.
Yeah.
So Blaney loves Star Wars. So, hey, Blaney, Bubba Wallace, come on the show.
I'll tell you, in the last year or two, we haven't had a lot of guests on, but the guests we've had on have been really, really good guests. And I hope that continues for 2022. I hope we have more guests on in 2022. which is why we've cut down to 2 shows, because we're going to save those extra shows with guests or special topics for a special show that we'll throw in there here and there. Yeah, I think that's going to do it for us this week. I'm just trying to think if there's any advice we can give collectors out there or people that want to collect. Like, what's the one thing you would tell collectors besides keep it simple?
Don't overpay.
Yeah.
Don't overpay. I really, really want that castle, the mini castle. I am not paying $90 for that mini castle.
Yeah,
If there's a way to get on a waiting list or something, I was on 2 waiting lists for Legos. One came through, the other one hasn't yet. That one hasn't, but it will. It came through once, and I didn't pull the trigger right away. I waited, and an hour later they were gone. So I know next time I see it, just got to get it early. Don't overpay.
Yeah.
You know,
this is your friend.
Yeah.
If you have a smartphone, look the items up before you buy. I don't care if the person who's selling it knows what you're doing. It's a way to make sure you do not get ripped off.
Yeah, don't overpay on Fleabay. Don't do it. When the parks reopened after COVID, there were people walking around 5 of the largest bags possible, filled with all the Brer Rabbit, Brer Fox, everything from Splash Mountain. I mean, they were letting them buy as much as they wanted. They were flooding eBay so much that it really wasn't selling, but they were already asking astronomical prices.
Yeah.
So something they were selling for $15, these people were trying to get $50 for. It was ridiculous. And they'd show you the tag, and you could see the tag. They didn't even pay that much for it. And to top it all off, if you were a pass holder, you were saving 20% off of whatever it was anyways.
So that's why I like Disney putting limits on merchandise.
I agree.
It prevents people from like that, from doing that. You know, what eBayer is going to spend, you know, get 10 friends to go to the parks, pay for their tickets to get the items, and then put them on eBay. They're not going to do that. So I do like that they're limiting some merchandise, and I hope that continues.
But keep it simple. Yeah. Don't just avoid the impulse buy. Try to keep it to a theme. Do your research. Is this something I want? Is this something I'm going to use? Or is this just an impulse?
Yeah. Right. You know, yeah, I completely agree with you. And for me, I think it's, if you're collecting because you just like Disney stuff and you're collecting things you like, then make sure you're going to like it tomorrow, the next day, or the day after. If you're collecting particular things, whether it's pins or vinylmation, and within the pins, like, you know, you like collecting pins from the parks. Or of the parks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, stick with where your interests are, with what you anticipate you will like tomorrow, a year down the road, 5 years down the road. You can always change your mind, but you know, you're going to be spending a lot of money over time. So make sure what you're collecting are things that you will not regret collecting down the road.
Agreed.
All right. We're going to wrap it up here. I hope everybody enjoyed this episode. We will be back next week with our news edition, followed by another show. I think next week, the regular show, John wanted to talk about the Skyliner. So I think we're going to do a show on that, whether Disney should expand it or not, reasons for and against. So we'll have that discussion next week when we have a couple more of us here, hopefully a couple more of us here.
Yep.
So look for our new show. It'll be out. It'll drop Tuesday night, and our other show will drop Thursday night into Friday. So we'll see you then. Be safe. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.